I also want to offer my hearty congratulations to the 4 teams that won their way here from America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan.
トッププレイヤーたちによる世界最高峰の戦いが見れることに私自身今からとてもワクワクしています。
I cannot wait to see what I'm sure will be some world-class play from some of the world's best players.
選手の皆さん、持てる力を出し尽くし、悔いのない戦いをしてください。
To all the players gathered here, let's see your best skills on display and leave everything you have on the turf.
それでは皆さん、トーナメントを楽しんでください。
Everyone, please enjoy the tournament.
Do your best and good luck.
Yeah, let's get it cracking. The Splatoon 2 World Championship. Welcome in. I'm your spray-by-spray host, Jordan Kent, and joining me, 2 of the finest Splatalists in all of Inkopolis, we have Ashley Esqueda and Charles 9 Whitehead. And we have 4 of the freshest squads, as we said. And Ashley, let's start with you. Your thoughts on these championships as we get set.
I mean, we were here last year for the Invitational, and now we get to see the World Championship, and I really like the stories because we've got some returning players, and they're looking for revenge, and I like that.
And Charles, what are you excited to see over the next couple of days here?
Well, this truly is the World Championship, the best players that we could find out here today fighting for all the glory, all the marbles, the prestige. This truly is the championship of all championships.
Well, before we get started, let's take a look at some housekeeping that we got to take care of. The tournament rules for the Splatoon 2 World Championship. Let's go ahead and follow these along. Opening rounds, we like to call those the ink pools. That'll be turf war. Teams play 2 matches in a mini seeding bracket. After play, the teams will then be ranked by their win-loss record. The semifinals, ranked battle, the matchups seed 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3, and then an elimination best of 5, which will lead us to our 2 teams for the grand finals tomorrow, which will be a best of 7, kicking off at 1 p.m. tomorrow. And you look at the seeding schedule here, we've got a couple teams that are ready to go, but let's walk you through the first 4 matchups that we'll have in this opening round of Turf War. You see match 1, Set to Destroy X, representing the USA, taking on the Back Squids, representing Europe, and then the GG Boys from Japan, taking on Yana from Australia, New Zealand, and match 2. You'll see match 3, you take the loser of match 1 and the loser of match 2, and then match 4 will be the winner of match 1 and the winner of match 2. Now, we talk about Turf War here. A lot of these players are obviously very familiar with it, and many people that get their introduction to Splatoon 2 have played Turf War. So let's take a look at the basic concepts of what we're trying to do here in Turf War. Well, you guessed it. Cover as much of the stage as possible in your team's ink in 3 minutes. Whichever team has the most ink on the ground at the end of the match wins. Now, Ashley, a pretty basic concept, but you look at these professionals and it is much more than just that.
That's right. When you're playing at this high of a level, Turf War is not as easy as it seems. And of course, these 2 teams are going to look to establish positioning very early on and hold those spots so that they can put down as much ink as possible.
Mm-hmm. And to that point as well, the music change in the last minute is not just for show. Believe me, the last 30 seconds, the most important part of Turf War. You have to make sure that you're in the right spot to stop the enemy push, then save your specials, because it's all about who's ahead at the end.
We heard about the team names, but let's take a moment to get to know the squads just a little bit better with a quick look at them.
Splatoon 2's opening rounds live on Nintendo News.
Ink. Used in ancient cultures to write sacred texts. It drips. Sometimes it drops. Early monks used it to create quiet masterpieces. Gutenberg pressed it. And today,
My internet's not the best here in Australia.
we use ink to determine the winner of the Splatoon 2 World Championship.
It was really an experiment to see if it would work or not, and well, yeah, unfortunately it didn't work very well.
Championship, where 4 teams come together to compete for the coveted sterling squid. Representing Japan are the GG Boys. Dynamon returns with his new team after splatting out over 800 teams of Japan and is now looking to bring that sterling squid home.
I am Dynamo.
Etona, Taichi, Yamamimi.
We are GG Boys.
And representing Australia, New Zealand is, yeah, nah.
1, 2, 3. Were we all meant to go at 3?
Arriving as the undefeated champions of the 2018 AUNZ Splatoon 2 Cup, this new team includes 2017 Invitational participant Latias. Just kidding, Latias, who returns with the goal of scoring key upsets.
Hi, I'm Gabe.
Hi, I'm Latias.
Totally. River. And I'm FLC. And we're Team Yeah Nah.
Representing the United States and Canada is Set to Destroy X. After the US defeated Japan in the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational, key members of the US team became Set to Destroy X and continued their dominance by winning tournament after tournament after tournament. It was a lot of tournaments. The US is now ready to defend their title.
Hi, I'm Penguin.
Hi, I'm Kia.
I'm Fuzzy. I'm Hexen, and we are Set to Destroy X. That was awesome. Dude, wow.
Representing Europe is Backsquids. The winners of the Splatoon European Championship, this German team brings a fresh name and team spirit aplenty as they take on the rest of the world. Hey, you're supposed to smile here.
He's smiling.
Hi, I'm Dean. I'm Eiko.
I'm Watson.
I'm Kaito.
And I'm Magic K. Rose.
And we are the Backsquids.
Now that we've met our teams, it's time to split!
It's great to establish an emotional connection with all of our teams right there as we get set for our first match. You've got Set to Destroy X from Team USA taking on the Backsquids from Team Europe. And 9, I want to talk about these special communication devices they'll be using as they get set to play here.
Right, these teams have a special communication device tailored specifically for this tournament. I don't know if you can see them down there, but there are some 6 Splatoon 2 World Championship decals on the side, and communication so important in any team-based shooter, but especially this. There's only 4 members. They all have to be informed.
Players getting their gear ready right now, and as far as the level selection, they'll be starting off on Piranha Pit. That was won by a coin toss by Team USA in the back, so we'll get a chance to look at that level. And you look at the different abilities in gear, what do you think lends itself well to Turf War here, Ashley?
I think for Turf War, you're looking for things like, swim speed. I always love swim speed and get back into the action quickly. I know we're going to probably see a lot of maybe super quick jump. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could pick, but the one thing that we won't be seeing, Nine, as we were talking about, is sub-abilities.
We will not be seeing sub-abilities today. Sub-abilities are disabled, so it's important to place the abilities that you are allowed to use on a premium, because you only get 3.
Right.
And I want to talk about the final 30 seconds of the match here, because we oftentimes say in Turf War, that's when it's make or break time there, 9. What are these teams trying to establish in those final ticks on the clock?
Well, first of all, they want to position themselves properly. Everyone knows that when you're pushed back, you have to find a way back in. What beats that? positioning. And on top of that, you need to have your specials. You know that the opponent is going to come out with specials. You have to have yours at the ready to counteract theirs.
Players making their final adjustments and getting back to communication, we oftentimes talked about as well too. That's one of the key features of these professional teams here, Ashley, their ability to talk and chat with one another and recognize threats.
Yeah, of course. I mean, anybody who is playing Splatoon, you always want to be talking to your teammates, right? I know that I always play with my best friend. We're talking to each other in voice chat. We're telling each other, hey, there's someone on the left, there's someone on the right, there's someone on, let's go flank. So it's an important feature. And with these guys, they are at the top of it.
Let's get started with our first match in the Splatoon 2 World Championship. We've got Turf War on Piranha Pit. You'll go ahead and look at your screen. You see Team USA set to destroy X in the pink, and then you've got the back squids in yellow. Looking at the loadout, what are you noticing right here, Nine?
Well, you see set to destroy X running with 2 Rapid Blaster Pros. We're going to say that name a lot, and those who follow Splatoon know it is the dominant weapon currently in the meta. You see a Rapid Blaster on the side of back squids as well. Keep an eye on those weapons.
Majin already using the Inkjet, able to get a splat on Wit right there. Going to go ahead and respond back to his spot right there. 4-3 advantage on the field for the back squids. And Ashley, we oftentimes talk about, yes, the 30 seconds are important at the end, but the first 30 to establish map control are just as important.
That's right. You want to be able to get your positioning in. You want to start building that special as quickly as humanly possible, but not so quickly that you are actually out of the action. You don't want to stay away. Oh, these good trade for trades.
Couple of trade for trades right there. 3-2 advantage on the field right now for the back squids. You see the bottom right of your screen. A lot of yellow on the map right now here, Nine.
Yeah, it's getting scary. We talk about it. The last 30 seconds are important, but you can very much lose a match early on if you're not careful. I love what I'm seeing from back squids. You see themselves positioned. They don't have the 2 Rapid Blaster Pros, but they do have the Rapid Blaster. They're not being overly aggressive.
Majin doing a great job grabbing a couple of splats with that Rapid Blaster. Take a look at Fuzzy, an overhead view of the map. 4-4 on the field. 1:30 left in this one. Both teams vying for control, but it seems like actually the back squids have the early advantage in this one.
They do. They established it early on. They have that key splat with the Inkjet, which I absolutely love that from a distance, but here we go. We're starting to see the specials come out from US.
Fuzzy deploying the Stingray right now, trying to create some space, and then the Ink armor also being deployed because here is set to destroy X, looking to make that counter push here as we approach a minute left here, Nine.
And they sent 2 people on the left side of the map. We talked earlier about how you need to pair up if you want to make something happen. They did a great job sending both Fuzzy and Pengit to the bottom of the screen. That allowed them to get the advantage they now have.
4-4 on the map. Wit has an Ink Storm sent out right now. That's going to help cover some turf 4 set to destroy X. You look at the map in the bottom right, it's pretty even at this point. Wit using that super jump to avoid the Stingray. Falls behind the splash wall. Wonderful job right there. Oh, but another splat for splat. It's 2-1 though at this point here, Nine. Here's where set to destroy X can make their push. But if you are the back squids, this is when you got to hold things down.
There's not going to be a lot of time for either side to build up their specials yet. It's all about holding on. You hear the crowd coming to a roar. Set to destroy X moving to the top of the screen. This is their play.
20 seconds left. 4-2 on the map, and this is the advantage that set to destroy X was looking for. Hexen using that Rapid Blaster, clearing some space out. Now just trying to cover as much yellow as he possibly can. We're now down to 8 seconds left. 4-3 on the field, back squids. Is it enough of an advantage to make a counter push? We will see. It's going to be close. 3-2. Was it enough with the slosher at the end? Let's see what Judd has to say in match number 1. It's going to be close. The furry paws hold the fate, and victory going to the back squids narrowly, and we saw that by the final couple of seconds right there, Nine. That 3-2 advantage that was established, and a couple scoops of the bucket with the slosher.
Slightest of leads, but that's such a big map that it's hard to get to the other side. Even if you have the lead going into that, it's not safe. You have so much ground to cover. Set to Destroy X did a great job pushing back in without the use of their specials. You saw them put 3 people attacking 1 spot, but it was just the staggered trades here, trades there. Ultimately, it just wasn't enough.
And Ashley, we saw it was really the back squids, their ability to establish map control early in this one. It seemed like it put set to destroy X on the defensive for most of the map.
That early splat with that Inkjet, I think, was really key. I think it hurt their ability, Set to Destroy X ability, to set up any kind of positioning. They had to kind of fall back a little bit. It really gave Back Squids an advantage throughout the entire match.
And we talked about the trades and the splats that were going on. Let's take a look at our instant replay from that matchup. We'll zoom in here on Wit and see what he's doing in this Turf War matchup. And 9, why don't you go ahead and walk us through this as he lands on the super jump behind the splash wall.
So this was a really key moment because you see the Slosher is pushed up in an aggressive position, and they also had just fired their Stingray as well. Even though Pengit went down right after doing that, that was their frontliner that they had sent out there. Cleaning that up without anybody going down really set the tone for them to make that late comeback. But again, it just wasn't enough.
And we saw a lot of splat for splats trades, as we said, Ashley, and really for Set to Destroy X, you're looking to try and get the splat, then make the push, but you don't get a chance to do that because the Back Squid's doing a great job of just playing defensive and making sure they secured the turf that they were able to grab.
Absolutely, and they won a lot of their one-on-ones, and if they didn't win the one-on-one, they took someone down with them, and I think that was such a smart move on their part. You know, they didn't get overly aggressive. They didn't try to get close to the, the base. Like, they just said, you know what, we got this. We're just going to stay in the middle of the map. We're going to control it, and that's it.
Let's get set for our second matchup. It's going to be Yeah Nah from Australia, New Zealand, taking on the GG Boys from Japan. You look at the other matches, Set to Destroy X will be in match 3. They'll play the loser of this match, and then the Back Squids will play the winner of this match. And 9, Australia, New Zealand won the coin toss backstage, and they decided to go with Manta Maria. Your initial thoughts on this stage for Turf War?
Well, Charger. I don't know if Latias will be using that here today, but Manta Maria is such a well-balanced map. If you want to use a long-range weapon, you can go up to the top on that snipe area, the grading, and really make your presence felt. I think the spot they feel very comfortable, and we'll see if it pays off.
And it seems like in Manta Maria, if you can get the upper hand and have the higher elevation there, Ashley, your team's going to have a huge advantage.
Literally the upper hand. I mean, you've got a lot of verticality in this map. There's not a lot of ground space in the way of, you get to that center really quickly. So if you can get up high, you're definitely going to have an advantage with a Slosher. You're going to have an advantage with a Charger. You're going to have an advantage with any weapon that's going to put down a lot of ink.
And 9, I want to discuss some more about these main abilities because, as we said, you don't get the chance to load up 12 quick swim speeds, basically, and be swimming all over the level. You've got to be very judicious about what abilities you choose.
Right, and I think one of the most important abilities in the game right now is that quick respawn. It allows your frontliners, if they jump in to try to get back into the action, they get splatted, sent back to spawn. They're able to respawn very quickly, as it is called quick respawn, and they can jump back in and make their presence felt at sort of little to no risk. But because you're not able to stack that now, you've got to be a little more judicious with your jumps.
About a minute away from getting started here, we've got the GG Boys of Japan taking on Yeah Nah from Australia, New Zealand, and you look at the GG Boys, and 9, we discussed, they took out over 800 teams to qualify here for these World Championships.
800 teams down, 3 more to go. That is the game plan for them here, but it just shows how experienced they are. That was a live environment like this, lots of teams, a big crowd. This is not too big a stage for them.
The lobby is basically set to go. We're just waiting for one more check mark, and then we can get started here. Turf War on Manta Maria. We've got the GG Boys from Japan taking on Yeah Nah from Australia, New Zealand. And we remember last year, the Aussies came in and they had quite the upset in Turf War early on, Ashley.
They indeed did. We saw a lot of great play from them. And honestly, I'm excited to see what's going to happen right now.
Well, let's get it started. Match number 2, GG Boys from Japan. You'll see them in the blue or purple ink, however you portray it. And then the green ink will represent Yeah Nah from Australia, New Zealand, and 9, give us the breakdown on the initial loadouts.
Well, you're seeing 2 Dynamo rollers in the action right now. You would not have seen that a couple patches ago, but these are pretty similar compositions. Both sides using a lot of dualies here. Their long-range weapons are going to be the jumping point, but we already see one going down.
Yamamichi with the nice splat, using those dualies and that mobility that he has. And Ashley, a lot of times, your ability to move around this stage is so critical to getting that advantage.
That's right, and Yamamichi has the dualies, which enables him to roll. So he's able to get those double rolls in there, make sure he can get away from people, and again, win those one-on-ones and convert to ink on the ground.
We've got an Inkjet versus a Stingray, as you see Latias up top with that heavy splatling, getting a nice job with that splatling right there. 2:15 left in this one. 4-3 advantage on the field for Yeah Nah. You see their ability right now to use some of that range that they have here, 9, is giving them the early advantage.
And another reason that range is so good on this map is because it's a long map. They're going to need to jump back into the action, as we see Yamamichi getting another great splat. Both sides are doing a great job of not getting locked out. There's been big moments, but they haven't let go.
4-4 on the 150 left. Make that 3-3 now as we have a couple of splats right here. Latias using that splatling on top of the grate in the middle of the pier here in Manta Maria as she's trying to score her team a pivotal victory here in match number 2 of the Splatoon 2 World Championship. Overseeing a few things. You see FLC using that dynamo roller. Oh, but a 2-for-1 splat courtesy of Yamamichi once again, 9.
And they did a great job of moving in with the Stingray. Even if the Stingray isn't able to get the splats, it's a giant beam everyone's looking at that allowed them to push both of their dually players up and take that crucial position.
Yamamichi just marinating in that toxic miss, and he don't even care right now as it's 4-4 on the field. Both teams trying to seize control of the middle of the map. You now have 4-3 advantage for GG Boys as FLC trying to rain it down with that Dynamo. Oh, Dynamo versus Dynamo as Dynamon keeps him at bay. But here comes the Inkjet with about a minute left here. Ashley, what needs to happen with the final push?
Well, I think Australia needs to get out there, and Yana has got to start converting some of these one-on-ones. GG Boys are doing such a great job. They're being so aggressive. They're getting so far ahead that it's really hard for Australia to come around and flank.
You see the Ink Storm on port side right now. 35 seconds left in 9. It looks like with the 3-2 advantage, this is an opportunity for the GG Boys to strike.
It was, but you see all the frontliners went down just as we were saying that. The last one is Latias holding things down in the middle. She's not going to be able to do all the painting herself. They need to get in and get in quick.
18 seconds left. Ink armor deployed. Nice little overcoat for the GG Boys. Trying to get a few splats. Taiji unable to get the splat over there. You've got a 3-2 advantage on the field right now. 7 seconds left. Can GG Boys get the final push? Looks like they're able to get enough work done before the bell rang. Let's see what happens here as we go ahead and wrap up match number 2 between Japan and Australia, New Zealand. And the results are GG Boys with the victory, and they will move on to match 4 to take on the Back Squids. And so this was an example here, 9, of getting that final push with the last 30 seconds, and we saw that from the GG Boys. They got the numbers advantage, and those frontliners were able to advance.
And the frontliner versus frontliner battle really was the story there at the end. We said Latias was stranded by herself. It's because too many 1v1 victories coming from the dualies of GG Boys, and sometimes that's just how it goes.
And we saw Yamamichi with some big-time plays. Let's take a look at some of the action that was going on in this previous match. And you saw him with the dualies. And Ashley, a lot of times if you're one of those frontline players and you're the dualies, it's your job to go out there, get some ink out there, but also get some splats.
That's right. I mean, Yamamichi is so aggressive. I love watching him with those dualies. He's absolutely fantastic. Look at the aim with his inkjet. I mean, it was just so much fun to watch him get out there and get those splats.
Well, as we get set for our third match, we will have Ya Na from Australia, New Zealand, taking on Set to Destroy X from Team USA. And in order to determine the stage, our available stages left are Arowana Mall and Wahoo World. We will do a coin flip here in just a moment. And you will have Ya Na, since they traveled the furthest here and put the most miles on the airplane to get here, they will get a chance to call the coin. And then, of course, match 4, Back Squids versus the GG Boys will have the remaining stage at that point. And it was interesting because we were talking about the Piranha Pit decision for Set to Destroy X here, 9, and they went with Piranha Pit because you eliminated the chargers in that level, but it wasn't able to work out for them.
No, it wasn't. And whenever you have a strong long-range threat, you want to pick a map that allows you to encroach on that, some flanking lanes, things that you can just kind of put some pressure on there artificially without having to run up and get them. But like you said, didn't quite work out here, and we saw this matchup last year, too.
Well, let's get set for our coin toss here. I believe we have our stagehand on stage set to go. We've got a couple of players for Set to Destroy X getting in the lobby here. Both sides of the coin were shown to Gabe. Gabe made his selection as far as which side will be chosen. And so obviously coin flips, very, very important when it comes to deciding a stage. It's been called. Nice catch. And it is the decision for Australia, New Zealand. They will get a chance to choose the stage. So will it be Arowana Mall or Wahoo World? And any thoughts on what they might be choosing here, Ashley, when you look at what they might be able to do?
I mean, if Latias wants to run a charger this time around,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We've got the decision. Gabe has talked to his teammates. Secrets are being shared. They will be going with Arowanama will be the next stage decision for Yeah Nah. I got to add a little drama right there. So let's do a little shopping here. You look at Arowanama and how it's going to play for both these teams. Your thoughts here, Nine?
It's a great map for anyone who plays a splatling. It's so good. You have those long lanes, and it's a very long map as well, sort of like Manta Maria. We saw what the Stingray can do there. It's all the more powerful here.
Extra powerful
So
here.
the winner of this match will be our 3 seed. The loser of this match will be the 4 seed when we go to our best of 5 and some of those ranked modes. So obviously a lot at stake here as players are choosing their weapons and choosing their items. Ashley, anything you might see differently from Set to Destroy X as they get set for their second bout of Turf War?
I mean, I think that they're going to be a lot more aggressive in that first 30 seconds. These guys really do a great job of winning those one-on-ones, and I think we're going to see some. I think we might see some revenge play right here, where they're just like, we got to just come out hard and get in there. So I have a feeling we're going to see some very aggressive play.
And we've talked a little bit about the specials here, Nine, but we saw some Ink Jets, we saw some Ink Storms as well too. What else lends itself well to Turf War here?
Well, I say those are the big two. If you are not used to Inkjet, you will be very used to Inkjet by the end of this tournament. Inkjet, the most popular special in the game now by a country mile. But I think we might see some Bomb Rush here. We know that one of the Rapid Blasters does have it. But ultimately, a lot of the popular picks right now do have those 2 specials.
And obviously, those specials will play a huge role. We also saw a lot of Ink Armor going out there as well, too.
Yeah.
And it seems like what we've seen in the first 2 matches is you want to establish stage control early, but once again, it always comes down to those final 30 seconds and making sure you can get that crucial number advantage.
Yep.
Let's get set for Turf War, Arowanama. We've got Yeah Nah from Australia, New Zealand, taking on Set to Destroy X from Team USA. Taking a look at the loadouts, and Nine, break it down for us here.
Well, Set to Destroy X feels like it wasn't the composition that got to them last time. This is exactly what they ran, and it looks like the exact same comp here coming out as well from Yeah Nah. They like what they saw here. They just feel they need to execute.
And obviously, the middle part of the stage is going to play a huge role in this level. Those 2 ramps that meet up to the middle, being able to control and have the high ground here will be a necessity, as we already see Latias with the Stingray.
Oh, wow. Again, that long, skinny map means that those are going to hurt.
You see the baller climbing up to the next level. Hexen going to go ahead and take the escort over there, avoiding the curling bomb. But here comes an Inkjet down the alleyway, able to get 2 splats right there as the river is flowing at this point here, Nine.
Yeah, River, that was a really precarious position. If they lost that closed area, it was all going to be rough for them. River being able to get those 2 not only keeps it even, it gives them an advantage.
4-4 on the field, 2 minutes into this one. You look at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and you see the slight advantage right now at this point going to Yeah Nah. But both teams fighting for control of that middle area. We see Kyo using that slosher right now, trying to gain an advantage. Misses the splat right there. Oh, avoids some of the ink. Able to get up to the side of the wall right here, is getting some pressure by River, but River, no! River getting splatted by the Rapid Blaster Pro. Hexen coming in and saving his teammate right there, Ashley.
Yeah, Hexen really came in and made a play there. And now he's cutting off the lane. He's cutting off that flank right there, and he's just going to wait for someone to come on by and splat them.
Hexen trying to put some pressure on the spawn here. Meanwhile, using that splash wall to provide some protection right now, keep some of the Yeah Nah teammates at bay. Here comes Kyo to provide some backup. That sprinkler popping in. And then you see the squid beacon as well. Oh, Kyo with the splat from up above with the slosher, trying to avoid some of that ink raining down. Has the baller ready to go and gonna ride that all the way up to the ramp. About a minute left here, 4-4 on the field. Kyo trying to be as economical as possible with that baller. And both teams doing a great job here, Nine, of staying alive in the final minute.
Yep, this is where it all comes down to. They have 2 Rapid Pros like we've mentioned, so it's going to be very difficult for them to climb that mountain. FLC getting a critical splat right there. That's going to give them at least a little bit of breathing room, but this center is filled with members of Set to Destroy X.
FLC putting in work right now. Gets splatted, but took out a couple of members of Set to Destroy X. Both teams is going to come down to the middle ground at the top of both ramps here. And Ashley, now it's a 4-2 advantage for Set to Destroy.
In the last 20 seconds, you can't go down 2 squids. It's really tough to come back from that, and you can see US Set to Destroy X putting down tons of ink in the last 10 seconds.
Here comes that push from Set to Destroy X. All 4 members on the field. Latias trying to do all that she can. Gets a splat right there, but might not be enough time left as we take a look at the final results, and it seems like Set to Destroy X was able to do what they needed to do at the end of this matchup. And there you have it, 60.4 to 33.2. And the execution by Set to Destroy X, especially at the end, they weren't discouraged when we saw FLC get a couple of critical splats with that roller.
And it's because they knew that the jumps were coming back in. When one of them goes down, when you have a double Rapid Blaster Pro composition, you know that if they come up the middle, they're going to take a lot of chip damage in doing so. You can safely jump in. You saw the wall using that to allow the team to come up. Just great coordinated play.
And what we saw also was the ability to continue to apply that pressure, Ashley. And then finally, as we continue to talk about, it's been the theme of Turf War, getting a couple splats at the end to just even give you the 1 or 2 squid advantage. And then there comes that push, and you don't leave the other team enough time to make a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, if you splat 1 squid, that's maybe a swing of about 2 to 5% right in the last even just 10 seconds, depending on what weapon you're using. It might even be more than that. I mean, you could get up to, with 2 people down on the opposing team, you could look at a 15 to 20% swing really quickly.
Well, let's take a look back at a couple of critical plays in that match. And Nine, why don't you walk us through what we're seeing right here?
Well, things really started to go downhill for Yana when they lost this closed. And that's why earlier I mentioned it was so important that River was able to win this battle, because it really set the tone for the early part of the game. They were not able to make lightning strike twice, however, not able to defend it that second time.
And then Hexen up top here going against River, gets the splat on River as the Inkjet is deployed. And you know how it is. If you can go ahead and cut into someone special like that, that is a huge momentum turner.
Right, and they spend so much time trying to build it up. And that was right after FLC had gotten those 2 awesome splats. If let's see, if Hexen had gone down in that situation, it really would have set the tone for the pushback from Yana, but able to get the splat that was necessary at that point really kind of shut things down.
So Set to Destroy X will take the 3rd seed. Yana will be the 4th seed as we get set for the semifinals, but we still need to determine who's going to be the 1st and 2nd seed, and we have the Back Squids taking on the GG Boys. The Back Squids with a flawless executed game plan against Set to Destroy X in Piranha Pit. You look at this next map here, Wahoo World, that they will be on. Your thoughts on that map here?
This is the map that both teams have the least amount of time with. And so I think that there is some real potential for an upset. So I'm looking forward to seeing how each team kind of handles that map, because it is a little bit different than the other maps that we've kind of played so far.
It is a little bit different, and to your point of it being so new, I think these teams are maybe going to go with some safer compositional picks here. They might not go for the, maybe putting Dynamo at a certain position. I know the Dynamon, of course, very good with the Dynamo roller. It's in his name. But when you do that, you have to know the map very well. You have to know where you're comfortable. And if you're not comfortable on a new map, you might have to make a safer pick.
And what's interesting is we're seeing all these different abilities being swapped out every single match. And continue to share with us, Nine, some more of these main abilities that we might see, especially when you consider how important the final 30 seconds are.
Well, Stealth Jump is very important to get yourself back into the action, but I've heard some of these teams say that Stealth Jump really isn't one of the 3 they feel they need right now. Special Saver, though. Special Saver, very popular, and as we talked about it, you need your specials in the last 30 seconds. Special Saver, the most economic way to make sure you've got it when you need it.
And let's take one more look at the ink pools as we get set for our 4th and final matchup in these ink pools. You see the Back Squids taking on GG Boys in match 4. Set to Destroy X getting the victory over Not to claim the 3rd seed. Now we just need to figure out who's going to be our top squid as we get set for the semifinals here. Let's pick this up. Wahoo World Turf War Match 4. You've got in the blue/purple ink the Back Squids from Europe, and then the GG Boys from Japan in the orange. And what is it about the middle of this map that is so interesting here, Nine?
Well, it's so interesting because you know you have to push forward and take it, but as we're seeing right now, Dynamon kind of just able to box him out here with this Rapid Blaster, but going to have to deal with Echo Stingray here doing the exact same thing.
Echo deploying the Stingray, 4-4 on the field, just 30 seconds into this one. And Ashley, what's interesting is this middle platform, you can't necessarily swim right up it because there's a huge uninkable wall, as you see Dynamon with the nice splat in the Rapid Blaster.
The ink-proof locations in this map make it very interesting because that creates very specific lanes, and it makes these teams know exactly where their opponents are going to be coming from.
A lot of orange on the map in this one as the GG Boys take early control of Wahoo World. 2 minutes left in this one, and Yamamichi using that inkjet and a lot of territory he's gobbling up right here, Nine.
Yeah, like we said earlier, it makes it that much more difficult for the enemy team to make the comeback, and he's just building up his special right now. He knows his team has it. He can kind of set back there and do what he needs to, though it does look like the back squids have made a push. They're not stuck in their spawn anymore.
Majin with the Ink Storm, and you see the Toxic Mist in the middle of the stage, trying to really fight for map control, trying to assist with a couple of splats. It's Rapid Blaster versus Dualies. You've got Yamamichi back rolling out of there. 130 left in this one. Yamamichi with an Inkjet ready to go. Going to throw out a couple of curling bombs and pave the way. Yamamichi trying to avoid damage right now. Moving along the map on the top cylinder. Has that special. Waiting to deploy it. And here comes the Inkjet as Yamamichi gets the splat on Majin. 115 left in this one. 4-3 advantage as we see a sprinkler fall to the bottom. And GG boys here, Ashley, unable to really make that significant push as we see another splat for splat exchange. However, Taiji is staying alive.
Yeah, I mean, you see these one-on-ones, and they all, I really love watching them move, because they all move so unconventionally as they're getting around the map. You don't see them taking the traditional walkways in Wahoo World that your regular tourist squids would do.
And so now with the baller, gets the splat on Watsim. You've got 4-2 on the field, 3-2 at this point here. That's Flatling trying to create some damage and havoc from up above, able to get out of there. Etuna retreat. Sprinkler put down at this point, 37 seconds left, and you've got 4-4. What needs to happen if you're the back squids? You're trying to make a comeback here, 9.
Well, the first thing you have to do is deal with Yamamichi. Been living over here on this side of the map the entire time. They've got to get rid of him now. It's taking 2 of them, and Yamamichi finally goes down. This is the look that they needed, but Majin goes down. They needed him to stay alive. It's 2-2.
3-3 on the map. The Ink Storm getting ready to fade out. 13 seconds left. Oh, it's pretty close on the map, but a slight advantage right now to the GG boys. It's 3-2 though. Is this the push? Don't call them the comeback squids. 4 seconds left. Is it gonna be enough with the heavy splatling in the middle? Let's wait to see the results here. Might have been too much ink for the back squids to overcome, but we'll see what happens. You see quite a bit of orange on the left-hand side of your map. What does Judd have to say? And that will be a victory for the GG boys. They claim the #1 seed. However, solid showing by the back squids. They will be the #2 seed as we get set for the semifinals here. And once again, we were talking about Yamamichi and the fact that he was having to pay rent. He was living at the top of the stage so much.
And we could have said that 2 or 3 times throughout that game. We saw earlier the double splat that came in with the curling bomb and the inkjet combination. But that's the thing with dualies. They're so persistent. They're so difficult to get rid of. And when you have the skill of Yamamichi, it does often take 2 squids to take you down.
Well, I believe we've got a replay from some of the action that was taking place in that 4th and final matchup in our ink pools. You had the GG boys taking on the back squids, and really what's been so impressive when you look at the GG boys, not only their communication, Ashley, but their ability to really just never give the other team an overwhelming advantage. They always seem to have 2 or 3 squids on the field of play, and we see Yamamichi in the inkjet here.
Yeah, I mean, they're so good at cutting off lanes. This is the thing that I think the GG boys do almost better than anybody else. I'd say Set to Destroy X also really close on that front. But, I mean, the way that they just find people and say, oh, no, I'm sorry. You won't be coming up this way. Like, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to cancel that.
Let's take an updated look at the ink pools as we finish up with our 4th match here. And we obviously have our seeds determined for the semifinals. Set to Destroy X will be the 3rd seed. Your 4th seed will be Yadna from Australia, New Zealand. The back squids representing Europe, they will be your #2 seed. And the GG boys from Japan, winning both of their matches in the ink pools, will be victorious. And we take a look at the semifinal brackets. It'll be the 1 seed versus the 4 seed. GG boys taking on Yadna in a best-of-5. And then you'll have the back squids facing off against Set to Destroy X. And now we get to some of the ranked modes here, 9, and what changes as we get away from Turf War into some more of these strategic game modes.
Well, almost everything changes, to be honest with you here. The one big thing is in this mode, if you make a big push early on, no matter what mode it is, you get to keep those points. It's not a situation where you take a big lead at the beginning and it just goes away. If you're able to make the big push and play defense, you more often than not find yourself winning.
Well, you see the map that we have here for the 5 potential games. Splat zones, Clam Blitz, Tower Control, Rainmaker, and then Tower Control if game 4 and 5 are necessary. So let's talk about splat zones, because Ashley, you talk to these professional players and this is one of their favorite, most consistent game modes. You're going to control a patch of turf, which we like to call splat zone, in the center area of the stage for 100 counts. Once your team completely covers the zone with your ink color, your team's timer will begin to decrease. Whichever team has less time left on their timer at the end of the match wins. However, there are penalties that can be employed.
That's right. If you have the countdown going and then your splat zones are taken over, you get penalized for that. And then it takes even longer to start that countdown over again.
And so, 9, you look at the basic principles and rules of splat zones, but how do these professional players take it to another level where they can be so dominant on this game mode?
Well, there's a time in the game we kind of call the lockout phase. It's when you've taken 2 or 3 down, the opponents are kind of staggered coming from spawn, and you have control of the zone. The good teams are the ones that are able to, much like in Turf War, identify where those threats are coming from, shut down the lanes, as you said, GG Boys is so good at, but it's really whoever can break that chain. They're going to build up their specials and push in with that. You'll see it go back and forth a little bit, but ultimately it's whoever can break that chain who finds themselves victorious.
And it follows a similar pattern to what we saw in Turf War here, Ashley. You want to obviously get the splat zone. From that point, you do want to push into the other team's territory to make sure you're pushing them further away from the zone.
Yeah, you want to make sure that they are nowhere near. You're going to just protect that splat zone at all costs. But the thing is we're also probably going to see a couple of them maybe do a little bit of forward hunting, as you will. They may take some ink forward and try to get around behind their opponents if they're coming into that splat zone. And if they have their specials loaded up, I think we're going to see some fireworks.
Players are still getting set for this first semifinal matchup between the GG Boys from Japan and Yeah Nah from Australia, New Zealand. And we are seeing some changes in the gear here, 9, so it will be interesting to see what they deploy. But talk to me a little bit more about the communication and how these teams chunk up these maps, as I like to say, and are able to communicate to one another.
Sure. So we've got some very simple callouts, left and right, that are commonly used here. If there's a spot where the sniper usually goes, we'd call it snipe. If there's a spot where you can access that, we'd call it flank. If there's a big box, we call it box. It's not always complicated, but it has to be precise and it has to be quick because, again, there's only 4 of you. If 2 go down, that's half your force.
Oh, Professor 9, we appreciate the lesson. Let's go ahead and pick up splat zones and Mako Martin. What do you like about this level, Ashley? Because this is one of the newer ones we saw since the game's been released.
I like this one as a splat zone choice because there is one splat zone, and this means that there is going to be a constant battle in the middle of Mako Mart for supremacy.
Yeah, Nah in the blue and the GG Boys in the green. And let's talk about this loadout here as we already have a 3-0 wipe on the field for the GG Boys here, 9.
Well, you know, sometimes you pick the game, but they sent 3 people down to the bottom of the screen there. It doesn't matter what weapons you put. If you get 2 or 3 of those taken down, you've just lost it all. And now begins that lockout phase that we talked about.
GG Boys going with the Splat Dualies, the Range Blaster, the Slosher, and of course that Rapid Blaster Pro. Meanwhile, for Yeah Nah, you've got the Dual Squelchers, Heavy Splatling, Splat Dualies, and a Range Blaster as well, too. Now it's 3-3 on the field, a couple of specials ready to go for Yeah Nah, but we see the zone has been grabbed by the GG Boys. It's already 100-40 here, Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, this is going very quickly, and they're keeping Yeah Nah away from the splat zone, and that's all you really have to do. Like you were saying, 9, once you get ahead, you just got to play defense.
If you're Yeah Nah, you really want to secure that zone and put that stiff penalty on the GG Boys. However, GG Boys have no intent in giving it up. 14 seconds left until the GG Boys can claim a quick victory here.
River on the inkjet.
On the inkjet. A couple of rolls right here by River, and they lose control. Can it be enough? And yes, Yeah Nah able to seize control. And you see the 75-second penalty being deployed for the GG Boys. That's going to give Yeah Nah a chance in this one because essentially here, 9, you now have a 77-84 score.
Well, that was 3 specials. If that didn't work, nothing was going to work. This time they put 3 on the same side, and unlike at the beginning, it worked. They got the splats they needed and just persistently painted that zone.
3:10 left, 3-3 on the field. GG Boys with the advantage. All they need are 2 more. However, they see a 50-second penalty staring them in the face between victory. And we look at Latias up top with that heavy splatling. Oh, zone is up for grabs at this point. Oh, Latias able to get the splat on Yamamichi. Here comes the Stingray. Can she rack up a couple more splats? And that does enough map control there, Ashley, to push back the GG Boys.
This girl is a beast with long-range weapons. I absolutely love watching her play. She's got that experience from last year, and it shows. She knows exactly what she needs to do to get her team back in control of that splat zone.
Latias trying to clean things up on Isle Yeah Nah right now, 60-2. And that timer continues to decrease for Yeah Nah. However, now they have to overcome a penalty as the GG Boys and Yamamichi with that inkjet get back into the game here, 9.
And that is what you see when you have that many specials coming in. We've seen it a couple times now, and we're going to see it a lot. It's really, can you turn aside the opponent's specials as they push in, and how many of you have to go down to make that happen? We're seeing now they're starting to stagger a little bit. I'd like to see them come back in as a group.
That custom blaster catching River as he tried to flank. Oh, but another blaster, but then FLC gets put down, and Yamamichi gets splatted. Everybody's getting splatted left and right as we're under 2 minutes left. 3-1 advantage, GG boys. However, a couple of Nos bombs already. That auto bomb gonna add more damage at the end, and it's gonna be game for the GG boys as they clean things up on Mako Mart here, Ashley.
You know, one of the things that I noticed that the GG boys were doing was every time one of their teammates would get splatted, one of them would go hide behind that ink-proof pad in the middle of the cross that was the splat zone so that they could jump in really quickly with cover and then get right back into it.
Game one going to the GG boys, and we talk about this game mode here, Nine. It's one of the most difficult ones to mount a comeback in because once you secure that splat zone, not only do you have map control, but now you're scoring and you're forcing the other team just to gain map control before they can even go after the objective.
Right, and that's the great point, because the objective is map control. And we talk about map control, how important it is here. It's a little bit more important than all the other map parts of the map that you can take, but it's also really not. You have to find a way to get to it, because if you get too predictable, you're just going to get snuffed out.
Let's get set for our second game in this first semifinal matchup between the GG boys from Japan and Na from Australia, New Zealand, and it will be Clam Blitz. And you take a look at this game mode, one of the most recent ones added here, Nine. You're going to toss clams into the enemy basket. First team to score 100 points wins. You can find clams scattered around the stage. If you round up 10 clams, you create a power clam. A power clam is needed to break the basket's barrier. You toss one clam in the basket, that's 3 points. You get a power clam in there, that's 20 points. And Ashley, these power clams are going to be all over the stage, and so you have to be very judicious about when you pick those up and when you get a power clam.
Definitely. I mean, if you are picking up 1 or 2 clams, maybe you're not as much of a target. But once you start getting into 4, 5, 6, and then, of course, once you have the power clam, you are persona non grata. Everyone's coming for you because they don't want you at their basket.
And Nine, obviously, if you get a power clam, everyone else on the map can see where you're at. However, there's an advantage to that because if you get splatted, you're not giving a huge help or boost to the opposing team.
Right, and you have a lot of clams if you have that power clam. Like you said, it does take 10, and that means that you have enough clams that your opponent probably isn't building one to go up against you. And really, that clam economy is so important. Again, it comes back to map control. If you're covering some clams with your ink, you're able to see them even on your mini-map.
You got to make sure you handle that currency on the stage. And Ashley, a lot of times it's more than just having one power clam, because if you have more than one, you're then going to put the focus on the opposing team that they're now going to have to shift to a defensive stance.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to see, if that is the case, you're going to see some fallbacks. You're going to see a lot of defense. I'm guessing maybe we might see a little bit, maybe a tent umbrella. That's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for. Do you think? Nine, do you think there could be a tent umbrella? Probably not.
You know, it's more popular than it has been in the past.
True.
It's more popular.